Miss Marvel Kamala Khan has no PvP value, so that's good because it means we can test her exclusively in PvE. Now, this is a level 80 build with an obelisk right now, using double support Nick and White Fox. We will go ahead and test her with other things, but first off, the rotation. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, or if you want more simply, 5, 4, 3. You just want to make sure that you can build up to the tier 3 on the second rotation, because then you want to do 5, 4, 3, 6. So I haven't actually, I can test it out now. I don't think, I'm not 100% sure you can get to 100% with just 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 6. You may have to splash in the 1 and the 2. Whether you want to splash them in at the beginning or at the end is really up to you. But there we missed our proc because I believe we had to wait just a second for it. So I recommend splashing in the 1 and the 2 either at the end of the first rotation or at the beginning, like I did there. But the damage looks pretty good, as you can see. Very proc friendly for the majority of the time. We've only missed 1 proc so far, and it's kind of not our fault. So yeah, she does require a bit of a distance. Sorry, not distance. She does require a bit of care for the distance. You got to be close to the enemy. She doesn't have very high. I actually shouldn't have popped my tier 3 there. She actually doesn't have very high range on her skills. You have to be quite close to the enemy. So just something to keep in mind, because you can end up like not being able to press your skills if you start too far away and you get kind of stuck there. But this is a pretty good performance. Unfortunately, I wanted to test her on a higher stage, but I'll show you why I couldn't in a second, okay? It's pretty funny, to be honest. I almost wanted to open the video with that, but I didn't. And I'm excited to test Kamala and other PvE content, but right now this is just a proc obelisk build, so that for those of you who are on a shoestring budget, like if you're, you know, very low budget, very free to play, you can still get a gauge on her value. Now, we are going to miss, that's unfortunate. We missed the 2-minute clear. We also missed dodging her psycho phase, but I think she can definitely do it. You know, I made a couple of mistakes during the run, but that was all done with, I believe, a 200 proc obelisk. Let me go back and check here. Yeah, 200 proc lightning resist, immunity to fear obelisk. The rest of the build looks very straightforward. I know it looks like she's missing Uru. She has the physical attack Urus, don't worry. The stats look good for PvE. Everything that needs to be capped is capped. And then she has a stage 12 Power of Angry Hulk and a 5-star artifact with 16% increased damage to villains with 16% reduction from villains. Now, here's the funny thing. I didn't want to test her on 39 because I thought it would be too low. I actually wanted to test her on 50. Can't test her on 50 because she's not a human anymore. She's inhuman. So unfortunately, as much as this uniform might be really good, I don't know if it is, but even if it is really good, I have the unfortunate news to tell you that it's going to be categorically worse. For now. And I say why I say it's going to be categorically worse is that she can't compete with other humans. So if you were hoping she's a Luna replacement, she literally cannot be a Luna replacement because she's not a human anymore. She's inhuman. And so because of that, she just gets worse straight up, because overall, if you look at all the content where you can use her, she didn't actually gain any content where you could use her in, and she actually lost content. She lost stages of World Boss Legend and Legend Plus that she could play, and she lost days of ABX and ABL that she could participate in. There's no makeup for that. There is actually one. The only place where you actually get more value rather than less value from Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, is Sector 14, I believe 14.5, where they ask you to clear with 3 Inhumans characters and to clear with the big Dusa. So right there, right above my head there, you can now construct the strongest team for the Inhumans, which would be Miss Marvel, if you were to just categorize by Inhuman here. Nope, Inhuman. Black Bolt, of course, and then the big Dusa. This would be the best team here. And yes, she would be benefiting from his leadership Inhuman allies gets 65% attack. You can see her physical attack now is almost 90,000. And then her passive giving... Oh, sorry, that's my alarm. Her passive giving... I woke up a little early. Her passive giving Inhumans 45% damage to supervillains is also, you know, buffing Miss Marvel. So this should help people clear that final quest. It's 14.5. But otherwise, unfortunately, she's actually only available for less content now. So that's a bit of a bummer for sure for Miss Marvel. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. So that was her performance with an obelisk. Let's go ahead and bump her up now to an energy. We're going to give her this mighty energy with a beatdown. 200% proc beatdown. And we're going to see how she performs. This is Kang stage 29. Again, I wanted to do Kang 34, but that's for humans, not for inhumans. So yeah, we're going to go ahead here. We built up the beatdown proc. We probably shouldn't have done that because now we have to recharge the beatdown proc again. We do nail it. And whoa, and one shot. Yep, that was a 2-shot. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. You can see how many hits she gets off here. Nope. There's like a sort of test of a character's ability for how much of the hits that they can get off. Run. Okay, come back over here. Do this here now. On this part of Kang's fight. If you can break his shield before having to do the lasers again, it's actually a pretty good sign. Gonna let him dash here, and then we're gonna crank out, and we screwed it up. Okay. Still get a lot of bars. Whoa, a lot of bars. I'm sorry, is he not... What's going on? Did I bug him out? Isn't he supposed to go at 22? Well, that was weird. Okay. Yeah, still very proc friendly. Haven't missed a proc yet. And she cranks damage. The tier 3 hits really hard. The tier 3 hits really hard. I don't know what that rotation was. I was actually early, I think. I don't know what that was. We can try to one-shot him here. With this last rotation. Oh, and we get the one-shot. That's kind of dirty, dude. That's kind of dirty. Oh, so that was stage 29 with a mighty energy in under 100 seconds. Unfortunately, between Jean and Kang, there isn't a higher stage that I can test her on. 39 of Jean and 29 of Kang are literally the highest stages because she's no longer a human. So I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. At this point, testing her would the point of testing her in PvE would be to start stripping off supports and say like, okay, what if I don't have White Fox? What if I don't have Nick Fury? What if I don't have any strikers? To see how much better she performs. I don't know how helpful that is to viewers because they're not going to do that, right? Obviously, if they have those supports, they're going to use them. Obviously, they're going to use 5 strikers, for example. So I'm not really sure what to do there. However, we can test her in some ABX, ABL stuff. So I will still give her a Mighty Rage and test her for that. Now, keep in mind, Kamala does not have guaranteed crit rate on any of her passives. She does have chain hit damage, which may soften the value of an energy, but I think it still performed really well in the test we just did. But yeah, with no guaranteed crit rate, you are relying on a little bit of luck here to trigger a rage, but we won't test her with competition because, of course, it requires high instinct, which requires by default tier 4. So here we go. This is speed hero, so it doesn't matter if they're human or inhuman or whatever. We're using Nick Fury and we're using White Fox. We're going to play this out for a couple of different things. We're going to see, first of all, what she can score, which is important. But then also, oh, I didn't charge up the Enrage proc for the tier 3. That's kind of sad. But also how she performs in terms of how easy it is, right? Like, does the Rage proc activate? Did I get guard broken? Why was her third skill not being pressed anymore? Huh? That's weird. That's really weird. Okay. We're up to just under 500,000. Sorry, 5 million. 500,000 would be crazy low score. But yeah, 6 million, sorry. Let's see if the, okay, nice. The burn on her third skill does linger for a while. So you can press it right away. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Okay, yeah. I don't know why the Enrage proc still won't trigger on the tier 3. I have this problem with other characters as well. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Let's hold the tier 3 for the next rotation because we know he's going to go over here anyways. We can also see if the 5th skill is going to cancel right away. There is a little bit of a delay while the rage was delayed there. That's unfortunate, bro. It's either the enrage proc or it's the rage, but never both. Okay. Very cool. We're trying to get the enrage proc to line up with the tier 3 because that's certainly where a lot of her damage comes from. There we go. We got it. And that adds a nice amount to her score. Very good. Okay. Yeah, the third skill doesn't last very long, so you can certainly move around after that, which lends itself to like a beatdown proc or whatever, but that's not for ABX ABL. Right? Now, it seems like the burn doesn't trigger right away on her 5th skill. So you do have to keep that in mind if you're trying to cancel. But I think at this point, you know, Gamora and Luna are going to probably outscore this one massively. This is not a great score. 12 million. 12 million in the big 2025 is not a good score. I do not think so. We didn't have the rage trigger there at first. Yeah, not even 13 with these jacked up supports. This is not good. Yeah. So not really going to test it in ABL. If the ABX performance is that mid, not going to be a contender at all. I think, well, that is tier 3. That is tier 380. That's not tier 4. But I don't think tier 4 is going to add that much to her score. I think tier 4 is going to realistically add maybe 2 million on the high end. It is a very good tier 4 buff. Don't get me wrong. The increased damage is very, very good. Luna obviously uses it to great effect in ABX ABL. But I think realistically, it's going to add like 2 million. Maybe let's say it adds 3 million. That's still only putting her at about 15 million, which is still well shy of what even an average Luna player can do at 17, 18 million, even Gamora players, etc. And so that coupled with the loss of stages for World Boss Legend Plus as an Inhuman, basically puts Kamala at a disadvantage. So you could argue that somehow thematically the devs found a way to make both of the Marvels, Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, actual downgrades uniforms from the previous one. Yeah, I don't know. I think the value of Miss Marvel is hinging on AB changes. If there are AB changes, if there's a new World Boss that comes out that has a lot of Inhumans restrictions, these kinds of things, if the Inhumans become more featured in the game in terms of restrictions, in terms of days of the week where certain things, you know, you play certain content, then sure, she can be useful there. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's kind of a big nothing burger, or it's just a bit of an L. We can test her AoE here really briefly. It's not great. Yeah, it's not great. Yeah, the tier 3 AoE. Let's see. Yeah, it's very frontal. She's not going to hit any of the other characters. I was going to say maybe she's good for zombie survival. No, not the case. Anyways, both of the characters for zombie survival are not good. Like, both of the zombie survivors are not good for zombie survival. Yeah, anyways, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching the video. Smash the like button, share the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.